are live. Welcome in. This is the Extra Points podcast with the college football experience. I'm Gus. That's Will. That's Cody. It is a beautiful Tuesday night. I'm glad to be here, man. What's up, y'all?
What's up, man? I'm glad to be here too. Excited to talk a little Auburn football tonight
Oh, yeah.
with y'all too. I can't. I've already been told I have to talk nothing but positive. So
Nothing but positive about Auburn. No negative.
gotta
Cody, and
gotta gotta watch my
I
mouth.
don't I don't want to hear any negative about you either.
That's right. You got it.
Nothing negative. Man, Auburn football. They're so dear to my heart. But before we jump into Auburn, give us a subscription on YouTube. It's free. Go and follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, and also subscribe on the Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're everywhere. Find us there. Help us grow this show. We're just doing this for fun, man. So, guys, are y'all ready to jump in to some
Let's
Auburn
do
football?
this. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. They went 5-7
Mm.
in 2022, 2023. They
Mm.
missed out on a bowl. Really weird year, man. They had the Brian Harsin stuff going into the summer. The boosters and the power players at Auburn really trying to force them out, trying to not pay the buyout. Nasty rumors. Really not a good situation. That trickles into the season. Gets fired about a little past the halfway point in the season. Wasn't looking good. Then we get Cadillac in. Then you have the Texas A&M game. The place is going crazy. Auburn gets their juice back about them. And then we just kind of fade out towards the end of the season. Then we hire Hugh Freeze. We've already gone in depth on Freeze and how we think he's the right guy. Cody, we really haven't gotten your opinion on Hugh Freeze at Auburn. Do you think it was a good hire? Do you think it was the right move? I think you were on this a little bit early in the process when everyone was screaming, Lane, Lane, we want you, Lane. Cody, what do you think about Freeze at Auburn?
Yes, sir. I was big on Freeze, man.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Auburn fans were kind of feeling Cadillac, kind of riding that adrenaline train. Then the Lane train gets here, and everybody's like, "This is the dude." But I mean, it's realistically speaking, it's easy to jump on that hype train. Everybody wants Lane. I mean, anytime a job opens, they're like, "What is Lane doing?" Just because of what he's what he's done
Yeah.
at Bama and things.
Who he is.
Yeah, I mean, I personally I don't hate Lane, but I just don't like his style.
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze is a little different for me. Being so close to Auburn, I pull for them guys, and I was kind of hoping they would go that route, man. Y'all kind of went in on his history as far as in 18. He had that job offer for the AAF, the Arizona job, and he turned it down. Went to Liberty. He ends up back in the SEC West, which is crazy, man. I mean that for the Auburn, just casual fan that doesn't super keep up with it, man. He's got an 83-43 record. Like the dude wins everywhere he goes.
He can coach ball.
He knows his stuff, man. So
Yeah.
6-2 in bowls. The only losing season he had was his last year at Ole Miss, and we know all the stuff that happened there. So I truly think he's the right guy. Harsin, if I had to speak on him, it's the South is different, man. We know that, right? So
Yeah, he just
bringing
wasn't a fit from the beginning.
he's just not, and I think that's one thing that Freeze will benefit from. He's been in the South. He knows how the SEC works. He knows what it takes to beat Bama. I mean, the last year he beat Bama, he went so they went back to back, beating Bama back to back, and at that time, a lot of people don't know there was only 3 coaches that had done that, beat Bama back to back during that time. Les Miles,
Urban Meyer?
nope, before
No. Tell me.
Steve Spurrier,
Spurrier, yeah.
and then Freeze.
Freeze,
So
yeah.
I think that's huge, man. You know, I think he's the right dude.
Yeah, and kind of get back to Lane. Do you think he kind of wimped out on the Auburn job because he wants that Bama job whenever Saban retires?
I don't think so. I think it was more so. If we're being transparent with Auburn, right? The boosters have their hand in the
Everything.
cookie jar. So we know that. We know the blue collar that Auburn holds. Hey, this is how we present ourselves. This is how we're going to run things. And
Mm-hmm.
they've brought in a bunch of coaches, interviewing wise, that could have done the job, but I think they were just scared because they weren't handed the keys fully. I
Yeah.
don't think Lane's got the keys fully. I think he's got majority, but I think that's one thing that kind of steered Lane away is, he's a little different. We know how he is on Twitter. He
He
doesn't.
he has his little quirks to him.
He plays the portal more than he probably should because he doesn't recruit as high. I
Mm-hmm.
think all that plays in a factor. Now, is
Look,
Bama in his mind? Maybe so.
look, Lane would rather be at the beach in some parts of the year than he would be recruiting in
And
some
you
parts of the
simply
country.
cannot have that at Auburn.
And at Auburn, man, they need a dude who wants to recruit 24/7, 365 days a year. I mean, you got to have that type of guy, especially with the schedule that you're going to play every year. And you got to
Ridiculous.
play Bama, LSU, Georgia, and then the rest of the SEC West. Well, no more West after this year, no more.
Yeah.
But with that schedule, with Oklahoma, Texas coming in, you're probably going to have to play Florida a little more. You're going to have to play Texas A&M. You need a guy that loves to recruit, and Hugh Freeze fits Auburn the best. He can persuade those boosters. He's one of those guys who can put his arm around them, make them feel good, make them feel like they're important.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man, love to have you. Thank you for your check. That's all I need, buddy.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
he was a good fit to me.
I
And
think so too.
Brian Harson from day one,
Was an
we
ego
knew
hire by Alan Green.
from his press conference, we knew felt like this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
This dude ain't gonna work out. Even when the season started going, you knew that something's up with this guy, man. He just don't fit here.
Harson wasn't on the hot seat. You were just waiting every week. Oh, is he going to get fired after this game? Is he going to get fired after this game? Every single game, you were just waiting for the headline. Brian Harson fired from Auburn, given X amount with his buyout. But I'm super glad we were able to move on with that. I kind of think Auburn's kind of getting back to what seems like a healthy program. I mean, it is just going to take some time, but I kind of feel like we're trending in the right direction, which is really key for moving into 2023.
Yeah. They finished strong in the recruiting class, man. We all know Harson didn't leave Hugh Freeze nothing. And dude, Hugh and them came in and got to work, man. And
They killed the transfer portal.
yeah, dude. They finished 18th overall on 24/7. But they finished third in the transfer portal, dude. And honestly, they probably had the best post spring transfer portal.
Yes.
If they had to rank them, they would be first in that one.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean,
they did an incredible job, man, in their first few months. And
I think we got 11 4-stars, which was the most for the portal total.
yeah, I don't see, man, Auburn is a pretty good place to recruit to. I mean, you got the
It's
town, you got Toomer's Corner. The college it's such a good location. You got anything you want in Auburn, man. It's a small town. If you want that feel,
close
man,
enough to Florida, you're really
yeah,
close to Georgia. I mean, so like
Best
you're
rivalry
right.
in college football.
Best rivalry in college football. You have a great stadium. You have an
A
avid
very
fan
loyal
base.
fan base. Yeah.
Yeah,
dude,
kind of too loyal sometimes.
them jokers can be 0 and 10, and they're gonna show up to the game regardless.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean,
I think all those play factors too. So
oh yeah, but kind of get back to the transfer portal. We killed it. We really addressed some position groups that we had struggled in for a long time. Offensive line, the wide
That's-
receiver room got bumped up. We got an experienced quarterback. He isn't fantastic. He isn't going to go to New York. He isn't going to be at the top of
tell us how
any
you
list.
really feel about Peyton Thorne.
But hey, man, we got a guy with experience that has won a bunch of football games and has played a bunch of snaps, which we really didn't have in that room, which is going to be key.
Well,
That's
you
really going to
upgraded.
be key. Yeah, we really upgraded. We got TJ Finley out, who I think was a cancer to the locker room just because of his attitude. Got him out. We got Robbie Ashford in that wants to compete. You really didn't see him trying to pitch a fit whenever Peyton Thorne got to Auburn, and they're just going to have a healthy quarterback competition. And I even think we're going to see Robbie Ashford some this season. Freeze would be stupid not to have a package rigged up for him to come in and get the ball in his hands in some form or fashion.
He will. He will. He'll have some trick plays up his sleeve. They'll sneak him out there or something. They'll have something for him to do because he is a pretty decent athlete, man. He can
I
run
mean,
the ball.
he's freaking
Um,
quick.
I'm really
He's got a good deep ball
impressed.
too. So
Yeah, I'm impressed just flipping the roster, man. You mentioned the offensive line, dude. He's recruited more offensive linemen in just this one class than the last two coaches combined.
It's ridiculous.
That is a
he's flipped
stat
almost 50% of the
that is
roster.
unheard of in one class to get that many in the two coaches combined.
Yeah, and I mean, something that me and Cody were talking about earlier was the status of Jaquez Hunter going into the season because he is struggling with the little off the field issues, and we're just kind of waiting to see how all of that plays out. He's the best player on Auburn's team.
Yeah,
Like
that one's going to hurt.
He's the best football player. So man, if we don't get Hunter back, that's gonna
If he hasn't
that's
been
gonna hurt.
suspended, if he hasn't been suspended yet, I don't know.
It's gonna hurt, but let's you're talking about flipping the OL. You're talking about bringing in more quarterbacks. They've completely redone that wide receiver room. So not that they don't. I mean, they need Hunter. Obviously, he's an SEC back, but we're looking at a bowl win team, man. So Hunter's really gonna determine how far that team can go just strictly off of his talent alone. I feel like.
Yeah.
So Auburn fans, you're going to have a completely new roster, so you got to learn all new players.
Yes.
Essentially. I mean,
lots and lots of new guys.
Yeah, you're going to have a brand new team. That's one thing about this portal, man. A bunch of teams are going to have new teams, man. And Auburn is one of them.
Especially when you get those new coaching hires in. I mean, they're coming in and they want their guys in. Like they want guys that they can handpick. And then when you're at a program like Auburn that has the resources, that has the NIL money to go get those people, that is able to tell guys like, hey, we don't really have a spot for you because the coaches that recruited you, they aren't here anymore. And we really don't think you're SEC caliber. Hit the portal, go see you. And then you're able to bring those guys in. That's pretty key. So what do we think Auburn's going to do in 2023? Let's break down their schedule. Well, let me get it pulled up here. Man, it's a pretty tough schedule, but it's not as tough as we've had in the past. We really don't have that hard of a non-con. And this is not a shot at Vanderbilt. I love what Clark Lee is doing, but we get Vandy from the East. So it isn't as bad as the schedule. We open with UMass, possibly the worst FBS team, right? I mean, they're in the bottom tier of the FBS.
We can just chalk some of these non-conferences up as they're going to win them.
Well, I mean, I think one of the biggest things with UMass is being able to get some of those kinks worked out. You know what I mean? Like get Peyton's feet, get his feet in the water, kind of, get his warmed up. Let's see what we can do. Iron out those wrinkles because we're about to go cross country.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the first time that you can get out there. You can have the pads pop. You can get game reps. You can get a bunch of guys in. I mean, because when you just go through scrimmages, when you go through practice, there's really nothing you can do to simulate a game rep. So I think having that game before we go to Cal is a really big deal. Then we go to Cal, just like I said, go all the way across the country, 10:30 at night. I'm gonna have to stay up till like 2 a.m.
It's
to
tied
watch
for the
Auburn.
latest start Auburn's ever had. So
Really,
yeah.
well, I mean, I think any other later start, we'd have to like go to Hawaii and play, which that ain't
Yeah,
happening.
California will be an interesting game, man. Just to get over there and play that late. I mean, I'm sure
Hmm.
the players will adapt to it. They'll probably get out there a few days early so they can
For sure.
just adapt well to that time change. And plus, especially because you're playing that late,
Yeah.
they might have late practices that week to
Yeah, to kind of
to
get
kind of
rolling.
yeah, just to get them to adapt. California is not a program that I think's even Auburn's caliber.
No,
I expect Auburn to go over there and probably take care of business.
smack them around.
Even if it's a slow start for Auburn, I expect the second half to kind of be theirs. I mean, they should be better up front this year, so
Yes.
they should be able to run the ball. That will help Peyton a lot, and then play action pass over the top. Just kind of you probably won't just beat them by 4 touchdowns, but you'll still probably beat them by at least 2 touchdowns or so.
Dude, we might smack them around. They were bad last year.
Yeah,
Like they were
yeah.
horrible. And I mean, they lost their quarterback, drafted him last week. They lost him. And I mean, they really can't recruit in this new kind of era. And I think we're just going to smack around. Cody, you kind of thinking the same?
I think this one's going to be important as far as starting fast. I think that's
Hmm.
one thing I would look for if I was an Auburn fan is can we start fast against this team? Because it, like you mentioned, this isn't a team that should really hold that type of standard with the
No,
guys up front.
no.
Auburn's got some really big receivers now. Like
Mhm.
let's see if we can play a little bully ball. But I think, like I said, I think my biggest thing is starting fast. Get up on Cal and let's see what all we can do.
This one's really big to the win total too. It's like if you want to make a bowl for all you bettors out there, if you want Auburn to go over their win total, you need them to win this game.
Oh
This is
yeah.
one of the ones where like this is a must win for Auburn,
Well, like
but one we should win, but it's a must win.
Like
Yeah,
Hugh
I don't
Freeze
know.
needs to win this game. Like they
Yes.
all need to win it. This is a game you should not lose. You do not need
No.
to lose to Cal.
No.
I don't know if it's so much as a must win, but it's going to be very critical with the next couple games, the
Oh
stretch
yeah.
that we're going to go over.
Oh yeah, and then we return home the next week. We play our in-state little brothers, Sanford from up there in Birmingham. We don't really need to go much into that game. That's kind of just kind of staying in a groove, kind of getting our feet wet still. It's at home. It's at night. The first night game at home. That'll be a fun game to go to. I mean, there's
Eh,
there's there's really not much to talk about with the
I would
game.
hate to go to that game.
Well, it'd be fun because the tickets won't be expensive. You can go. You can have a
It's one of
nice little
those
day.
you take your kids to it.
Yeah, yeah,
If you got kids, you take them to
I
that
think
game.
that's going to be one that the fans going to be rocking, dude. First night
yeah.
game of the year.
Oh, they will definitely be rocking.
Going for 3-0. I mean, all the hypes around Hugh Freeze. It can Auburn keep it going? I 100% expect Auburn to be 3-0 going out of this game and going into the next game. Really, our first big game of the year, one that's really going to determine the trajectory of our season at Texas A&M. This is a massive game. It was a really ugly game last year at Auburn. This was Cadillac's first game as the interim coach. We beat them 13-10. I mean, it was ugly. It was ugly. Auburn was in shambles. Texas A&M was in shambles, and it was like two drunk girls fighting in a bar. Ugly.
Just play it on Nickelodeon, I think.
Watch your mouth, Will.
I want to say this about A&M. Auburn is 4-1 in College Station.
We've owned them. We've owned
They
them.
are they are not intimidated by that place whatsoever. I think just because of A&M's maybe recruiting, they might be favored in this game. I would
Yeah.
say maybe not by a lot, but they will probably be favored. And I think if Auburn can start 4-0, dude,
That's
they are
huge.
they
Oh
are
my
going over
god.
that win total.
All day
What
long.
is it? It's 6.5. They will go over it
Yeah,
if they
six
can
and a
win
half,
this
7.
game. This is a big one. Again, Auburn's played well in College Station. Their only loss is that 1 year with Bo Nix.
20-3. That was
Yeah,
an ugly game. That
yeah,
was
it
Harson's first
was.
year.
Yeah, but Auburn just seems to find success at some of these places, man. And this is one of them.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see this one. This will be fun. Jimbo, we're not talking about A&M really, but Jimbo Fisher, this is a big game for him too.
Hot seat.
So yeah, hot seat right there, buddy. He will be on the hot seat. He loses this one. So
What do you think this line opens at, Cody?
I don't know, man. I know this ain't the Texas A&M breakdown, but I do think Texas A&M is going to be a lot more improved this year.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They
I mean,
have a lot of
I
talent.
truly think they are. So that's going to be a really tough game for Auburn, and that's no disrespect.
Oh yeah.
Hugh knows how to win, but that's a tough spot, man. I would. It really depends on how Auburn starts. I mean, if they
Mhm.
take care of Cal like they should, maybe
Mhm.
you're looking at a 10-point spread. But
Now, that's what I was thinking.
if not, man, it could. I don't know, man. I don't want to. I don't want to throw too much rain on the parade, but I do expect A&M to be really tough.
Oh yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
this is going to be a tough game.
yeah. I was thinking this line opens up maybe -8 to -12 Texas A&M. Just depending on what Auburn does to open the season, and really depending on what Texas A&M does at Miami in week 2. I mean,
A&M's got. I mean, dude, they're got enough talent to go around. So
right.
if that receiver room starts clicking, look out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's a really tough game for Auburn. I think it's a winnable game. I for sure think that it's a winnable game, but that's definitely going to be a tough one. That's going to kind of determine where Auburn goes from there and what direction our season goes. Then we come home, and I hate that we got to play this team. Every year, they have dominated us since 2005, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. God, I hate Georgia. But we play Georgia at home, man. I think we're all chalking this up as an L. I
No,
mean,
no doubt.
this is going to be what? I mean, you expect Auburn to open up as like a minus 20, a minus 24 maybe?
Yes, somewhere around. It'll probably be 20.
At least.
I mean, well, if they go in and beat A&M, if they're 4-0,
Yeah.
it will not be 20. But
Yeah.
if they're 3-1, A&M maybe just put it on them. Maybe
Yeah.
yes, it'll be 20 something.
Makes me sick.
Yeah, I
Makes
know
me
you're
so
feeling.
sick, man.
They're really good, man. They're
Yeah.
talented. They are loaded. We've discussed Georgia. We'll have a breakdown for them too. Probably it'll be a quick
Yeah.
show. But
Yeah, it was too much to break down.
Carson Beck and them, Peyton Thorne, dude, just don't turn over the ball and do nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Take care of the ball. Let your defense play, and see if y'all can stay in the game in the second half.
Yeah.
Maybe have like a fake punt, get a few turnovers,
Do something.
just something to get some momentum. Maybe Carson Beck can give you a few gifts.
Bro, I'm praying because this is his first big start on the road. It'll be the most hostile in
your crowd can help. I think
yes.
with them being rocking, if you can get you a turnover early, keep them in the game, and offense, just don't make mistakes, man. Because when you make mistakes, they will just jump on it and they will keep scoring, man.
They will eat you alive like a bunch of rabid bulldogs.
Do I think that's probably gonna happen? No, probably not. But I'm just trying to
be positive.
How can Auburn win? How can they win the game?
Man, Cody.
I don't know, man. I think with Georgia, obviously, reigning champs. Who cares about Georgia? The biggest thing for me is this could be Georgia's hardest game. That sounds weird to say, but they're going to Auburn. Auburn's going to be. I mean, they're going to be rowdy. We've seen Georgia's schedule. I mean, let's look at past. So past, over the years, Auburn normally does well at NDL. So if anybody can maybe give Carson a wake up call, maybe it's Auburn. I think it'd definitely be closer than 3 scores.
Dude. I mean, this kind of sounds like a loser thing to say, but if we can just be competitive and we can just go out
That's
there and compete,
nice.
That's what
and
everybody
just
wants with Georgia. But
yeah,
realistically, you're an Auburn fan.
Let's
You know
hope.
how they feel about that
Let's hope.
rivalry.
yeah. I mean,
Auburn's not scared of anybody. Like let's be
no,
truthful.
no.
And they've had years where they've beat Georgia and Bama in the same year. It's all what can you do? You know what I mean? Year one's going to be tough, but at least you got them at home.
It can happen, but it's a slim chance that it's going to happen. And
Yeah.
then, and then, man, after playing Georgia, we have to go down
What
to the
a
bye.
3-game stretch, sir.
Dude, this might
Well,
be one of the
at least
hardest
you get a
3
bye
games
week.
in college footballs. Yeah, but still, this might be one of the hardest 3-game stretches in all of college football. Play Georgia, then we get the bye week to be able to lick our wounds and heal. Then we got to go down to the Bayou, man, where we have only won twice since 1999.
Should have
Good
been 3
Lord.
times, sir.
Should have been 3 times, but hey, I swear they practice witchcraft down there in Baton Rouge. And
To be able to lose a game up 20-0 is tough, man. Definitely tough.
makes me sick, man. But Auburn going down to LSU, second year of Brian Kelly, first year of Hugh Freeze. LSU's they're gonna be rocking and rolling by this point. They're one of the title favorites in the whole entire country. They're a bunch of people's favorites to win the West this year again.
God.
Dude, it just makes
Man, I don't know if they're going to win the SEC West. I'm not jumping on the LSU train just yet.
I am
I think this will be a tough game for Auburn to go into
extremely
Baton
tough.
Rouge. I mean, it's tough for anybody to go in there. They're going to be rocking, but again, dude, I'm just not firmly believing in LSU just yet. But being the Auburn LSU game, I think LSU will be the favorites.
For sure.
As they probably should. LSU will probably win this one,
Mhm.
but it was a good game last year in Auburn.
It was a
a
phenomenal
really good game, and Auburn was not that good last year. And LSU kind of struggled. They got lucky to kind of win that one. So I think this game can be close. Again, kind of the same thing. Peyton, do not come in there and try to be Mr. Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't do anything crazy. Control the game, control the clock, shorten the game a little bit. Don't let Jaden Daniels run all over y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think just make some plays, man. Defense needs to make some plays for the offense.
Yeah. Cody?
Yeah, so I would say, by now you know what in this point in the season, you'll know what you have in Ron Roberts, the new DC. But I think this is a game that you really find out about Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
So what can he do with DJ James? If the people out there that don't know DJ James, he's the corner that came from Oregon. He's a stud, dude. So that's one of those you're going to need them type deals because we know what the LSU wide receiver room is. We know what they have at quarterback. We know the talent they bring. And then you hit on the I guess lack thereof statistics that they've had in LSU. So
we just can't win there.
Yeah, history's not in their favor there. So I think, and that 3-game stretch is going to be rough, man. And to end it at LSU, goodness.
Yeah, it's for sure a game that I do not expect to win. I hope to win, but when I turn my TV on that Saturday, I'm not expecting Auburn to pull out a win, but I'm hoping. And man, I'm praying that our offensive line can stay healthy through that 4-week stretch because we're playing top tier defensive line talent back to back to back games. And how can we hold up at the end of this really, really, really tough stretch because LSU, they're getting, I think it is Mason Smith back who got
Yeah,
injured in the
yeah.
FSU game. That man is an absolute baller. Like he's gonna be a first round NFL guy. And having to face guys like that after
After
this
after dealing
stretch, yeah,
after
yeah.
dealing with Georgia's deal.
I mean,
I think
just really hoping we can stay healthy during the stretch too.
best case scenario for Auburn for this stretch is to go 1-2. If you
Just
can go
take
1-2,
one.
take one of the three,
Mhm.
and
Be 4 and
you're
2.
gonna, yeah, dude, you're gonna have a pretty good year.
Oh, yeah.
Because the rest of your schedule is pretty winnable.
Yeah.
But you got a winnable schedule down the stretch here. So,
Yeah.
I
So,
think A&M's probably the most winnable one out of the three.
I would think so.
Uh,
I'd be
but
curious to think what to see what Auburn fans think. What's the most winnable one out of those three?
I think it's the A&M one out
It
of the
has to
three.
be. Has
But
to be.
just because of what A&M came off and did,
Mhm.
but A&M might have more talent than LSU, but LSU just has the quarterback.
Yeah. They
I mean,
have the
when you look
quarterback,
at
they have the better coaching staff.
you just
They're a
look at
more
the
cohesive
last
unit.
you look at the past few recruiting classes, A&M has out recruited LSU. So
Mhm.
So if that's the case, and somehow they did win, then you're talking what a break, almost nearly breaking the win total from the jump. I mean, if
Yeah.
they
I
imagine
mean,
if somehow they pull that A&M game out,
you're
what's then what's the Georgia game look like? You know what I'm
that
saying? So that's what
game
I'm
is
saying.
going
Like
to be insane if
that's what I'm saying. So like, what realistically, are our chances here? I mean,
I think the ceiling through this first 6-game stretch, the ceiling's 5-1 because anything can happen because this is college football, and the floor is 2-4, but that's like the wheels have blown off, the brakes are gone, the handlebars off of the bike. I mean, that's like worst case scenario. But I think most likely is 3-3, maybe 4-2 if you want to stretch it.
yeah, I think it's 3-3 or 4-2.
Yeah.
3-3 is probably a little bit more likely,
Yeah.
but 4-2 is definitely possible. I mean, you can definitely do it. Again, I think it's the A&M game that maybe you can go there because you've had so much success in Texas
College Station.
A&M,
Mhm.
so it's more likely to go win at College Station than it is for you to beat Georgia or go into Baton Rouge.
Mhm. Man, now kind of getting into some teams that Auburn's had a lot of success against. We own Ole Miss. We own them.
which is so
We own
ironic
them.
because that's where Freeze came from.
We absolutely own them. This is going to be such a fun game because just like we said, we're probably either going to be 4-2 or 3-3 coming back home to this game. And man, this game has so many dynamics to it because you have Lane Kiffin on the other side that was almost an Auburn coach, turned down Auburn. Then we have Hugh Freeze,
Who
the
came from?
once Ole Miss coach that is now playing his former team at his new team's place. Man, and Ole Miss has only beat Auburn 3 times since the year 2000. We own them. We absolutely own them. There are Ole Miss fans that are like 18, 19 years old. I've only seen Ole Miss beat Auburn like once or twice, and that brings so much joy to my heart.
Yeah, Ole Miss is six. They're Auburn's 6-1 against Ole Miss in the last 7. They've only
Mhm.
won twice since 09. You kind of mentioned it 3 times since 2000. Dude, Auburn's just got to get back to beating these teams,
Yes.
the middle tier SEC teams. If you want to
Yes.
get back up to where you were a few years back, this is a game you got to win. To me, you got to
Yes.
win this game. Beat Ole Miss. Get back to beating, the Ole Misses, the Arkansas of the world. This will be a big game. I think Hugh will be motivated for this game. I'm excited to see him play his old team. I mean, none of his old players are on here, so he don't really.
No,
It
no.
is what it is, but I
It's
think
just
he'll
something
definitely
about it.
be. Yeah, something will be a little. He'll be juiced up for this one, so I'm excited to see.
Mhm. Man, Cody.
Oh, I was just going to say I agree, Will. I think that's something to look out for because even though those players aren't there, the fans are going to be rowdy just because he was
Mhm.
coming back.
Oh
And
yeah,
then Lane is Lane, so he's always going to throw a wrench in.
he's
I
he's gonna be talking his smack that whole week. Like
Yeah,
his freaking keyboard's gonna be hot when he's gonna be typing on Twitter. I promise you,
I
talking
think
smack.
this is one of the biggest games Auburn has to
Yes.
look back on. Like, yeah, the Georgia game's huge. Yeah, the LSU game's huge. Yeah, the Bama game's huge. But Ole Miss is really going to tell you, kind of where you sit because, like Will mentioned, that's one of those middle tier SEC schools. Like, let's see where we stand with that. Then it's the old school that you coached at. They've got talent. I think it'll be a fun one right there.
Oh yeah, man. This is gonna be a massive swing game of the season. This is a game that determines if Auburn gets bowl eligible or if we're sitting at home in the month of December.
And
Man,
it's huge to get back rolling because like
yes.
we just said, that 3 game stretch is going to be rough. Who knows if they can pull a win out? So to jumpstart that win total again, we got to find a way to beat Ole Miss like we
Got
always do.
to. Man, and I think the players are gonna be really motivated because I think the players like Freeze. So I think they're gonna kinda have a little more juice to him saying like, "Hey, like, this is our man's old team." It's like,
Well, that and they hear all the rumors. They
"Oh,
hear all
yeah.
the fans talking about Lane and how everybody wanted Lane. So if I'm a player personally, I'm thinking, this is the guy we got. Let me show you how he's better than this other guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me show you what we could have been with you, but you didn't want us."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Man, and then staying in the state of Mississippi, we got Ole Miss. I mean, I'm stupid. We got Mississippi State. Can't
Back to
read
back
very fast.
games at Ole
Back-to-back
Miss.
games. No, we get
I
Mississippi
agree.
State. Got
Got a
Mississippi
double
State.
header here.
We got Mississippi State coming to Auburn. Man, the last time Mississippi State came to Auburn, me and Will and our buddy Nick were there with Kirk Hancock. Terrible game, but a
I thought
really
it was
good
awesome.
game. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
but
a good game.
an absolutely terrible day to be an Auburn fan. But I mean, this kind of falls into the same realm as the Ole Miss game to me. This is a must win for Auburn to really stay on track. I'm kind of hopeful for this game because it's Mississippi State's first year under Zach Arnett. Complete change of style from the late Mike Leach, going from air raid to more of a ground and pound, more of a defensive minded head coach. I think Auburn's going to win this game, and I think we're going to really stay on track from hopefully when we beat Ole Miss.
Yeah. It's crazy to me. Auburn's kind of struggled with Mississippi State. The last
Yes, dude.
7, they're 4-3 against them. Still got to win a record, but it's crazy to me that Mississippi State's probably the out of the 2 programs in Mississippi, they're the one that's not quite as good. That they haven't had quite the success that Ole Miss has had, and it's just
Yes.
kind of crazy to me. Auburn struggled against them, and like you said, we were
Got to
there at the
remember Dan
28 to
Mullen was there
3.
too.
Well, there's yeah, that's why I said that. We were there at the 28 to 3 debacle.
Breaks
So
breaks my heart.
I think them not running the air raid anymore will help Auburn. I
Mhm.
think they had a tough time defending that. So, but Will Rogers is back.
Yeah.
So we will see what they kind of do with that offense with him. See if they let him throw it around because he break the SEC record
Yes.
this
He
past. Yeah, so he's the
he holds
leading
the
passer in
SEC record.
Yeah, his record might not ever be broken after this year. So this is a must. This is another game that they need to win. You got to win this one. You need to they're coming to you. I bet it'll end up being like a night game or something like that. So
Yeah.
take care of business and get ready for the November stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a very winnable game for Mississippi State. For Auburn going to Mississippi State, it's rest in peace to Mike Leach, but they're going to look completely different. they're going to be trash, I think, personally. But if I was an Auburn fan really looking at this game, I think my thing is comparing, hey, let's see, where does Peyton Thorne sit compared to Will Rogers? I'd be looking at something like that. But this is definitely a game you want to take care of.
Yeah, this is for sure one of those games, just like we've said about the Ole Miss game and about the Cal game. This is a must win, a game Auburn should win. I think a game Auburn will win to really just get us one step closer to being bowl eligible. And then the first month of November, it gets cold up in Nashville. And that's something that I know that y'all Florida Gator fans kind of got to experience last year about going to Nashville and going to Vanderbilt towards the end of the season. It can be kind of tough to play there with the weather. And I really love what Clark Lee's doing up at Vanderbilt, really making them a tough-nosed team, kind of getting them all to buy in, kind of changing the culture there. I like Vandy. I think Auburn's going to win. Auburn has no excuse not to go into Vandy and win. They have an immense amount of talent, more than Vanderbilt does. So I don't see why Auburn shouldn't go into Nashville and be able to handle business. Sorry to our friend Bo that we have to break your heart.
Sorry, Bo, I have to do this to you. And I know your team beat my team last year, but until I see consistency from your team year in and year out, this should be an easy win for Auburn. No excuses for this one. Yes, if it is cold, dude, you got to knock them out. Do not let them stay in the game, and do not let their crowd get in the game. Even though they only got a little section that'll show up, because they will get loud when that little section shows up.
Yeah.
Knock them out in the first half. Don't turn the ball over. Don't give them easy points.
Mm-hmm.
Score early, score often.
Run the ball down their throat.
Yes, you should be able to run the ball down their throat.
Mm-hmm.
In the third quarter, let it be done, and you can let your backups play.
Yes.
So, okay, Bo, I'll say some nice things about Vandy just for you, sir. I will say the Vandy fans are particularly nice up there. It's a great view at the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
What else can I say? I don't know. Anyways, I think Auburn, you look at the blue chip ratio is, it's different, man. I do agree with Gus that Vandy is building, man. Clark Lee is building that program. A lot of casual fans hear Vanderbilt and they don't think of what they actually are, and they are a hard nosed team. They're getting some good transfers in. I do think it would be I think it's going to be a good game, actually. But I do have Auburn winning this one and continuing that momentum coming back from Mississippi.
I'm gonna say this about Vandy. I'll say this about Vandy, so I just don't. Bo doesn't totally think I'm just trashing them. Man, when you let them game up there, they will capitalize. I saw it.
Oh, you don't want to. This is a team you don't want to let hang around, like you said. That's
you don't want them to hang around because
they have enough talent to win.
Yes, they are coached well enough. Well, they will win
100%.
So that's what I mean is take care of business in the first half,
early.
In the first quarter, early on. Do not let them hang around because they would take advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that Vanderbilt's going to go over by October, and I think maybe not this year. 3.5.
Gotcha. Okay,
which is crazy to me. I mean, after seeing what they did last year, it doesn't make sense to me. But
I mean, I don't think Vandy's going to get to a bowl this year, but I think it's completely reasonable next year, 2024, 2025, to be able to say, I think Vanderbilt should get to a bowl game just because of the way that Clark Lee's doing things up there. Going out back to the SEC West, them boys at Arkansas, Sam Pittman played them November 11th, will be in Death Valley this day. So I really probably won't get to see Auburn play that much this day. Auburn versus Arkansas. Arkansas's kind of been a tough place for Auburn to play. It just always seems that Arkansas plays us well, man. And I really don't know what to expect from Arkansas this year. They still have KJ Jefferson back, but they lost Kendall Browse. They lost Barry Odom, their offensive and defensive coordinator. They still have Sam Pittman. They still have Rocket Sanders. Man,
Um,
I th- I think this could be a really tricky game for Auburn. It's our second road game in a row. I really hope this is like a noon SEC network game or like a noon
yeah.
ABC game. I really don't want this to be like the 3:30 CBS or like a 7 o'clock ABC. Like I really don't
Well,
want this to be an afternoon or a night game. I really, really don't.
you kind of read my mind. This just feels like a noon game.
Mhm.
Which you kind of mentioned y'all struggled, but Auburn's 6-1 in the last 7 against Arkansas, and their only
Dude,
win is
it's just
last
the way
year.
it but we also got that win handed to us whenever Nick spiked the ball, but he spiked it backwards and the ref gave us the ball. We should have lost that game. And it's just I don't know. It's just the way Arkansas just feels, man.
Well, they're tough. They always play tough, man. They're
Yeah.
going to be tough up front. Their quarterback returning, he he's a really good quarterback. He can run
Yeah.
the ball. He's huge. He's like I think Cody kind of said he was kind of like a little Cam Newton a little
Kinda.
bit.
Yeah.
So this will be a tough game, man. This will be one of those you maybe you're coming off 3 wins in a row. Maybe you kind of see that Alabama game coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can stay focused in and finish strong on this little tough little SEC West stretch you got. And if you can finish this little stretch off with a win, man, you
That'd be
probably
huge.
you probably definitely have hit the over already,
Mhm.
and then going into another game where you're definitely going to win.
Cody, I have a feeling you want Arkansas to win this game just because you drafted KJ Jefferson.
Nah. I think as far as this game specifically, I think it matters how the last 3 go.
Mhm.
If they're riding momentum, I think you've got a good shot to beat Arkansas. But the
Yeah.
flip side of the coin is if you aren't, if somehow Vegas is right on your win totals and you're struggling year one, this could be really challenging.
Yes.
Will spoke on KJ how good he is. They've got some hogs up front, if you want to say. SEC caliber. I mean, they're no chump.
Yeah.
I do like where Auburn sits. Like I said, I think it just really matters on the momentum right here because if you're riding high, this could be easy. But like I said, if you're not, Arkansas is a
Yeah,
little
that
better
could be
than
tough.
some give credit for. So
Yeah, and you're getting this late in the season. There's really no way to predict because so much can happen up to this point. I mean, we don't even know what Auburn's roster is going to look like due to injuries. We don't know what Arkansas's roster is going to look like due to injuries. There's so many dynamics that go into a season that all of us know. And I mean, there's just no way to really know, but it's just something about this game, man. It just gives me the ick. I just don't
Yeah,
this I mean, it just
trap
kind of
game. Feel it.
yes. Yes. It just
Yeah.
really doesn't feel it just doesn't feel right. Just really, really doesn't. But just kind of like we've hit on it, it's still kind of a must win. And this is a game, this is a team Auburn really needs to get back to every time we see them coming up on the schedule. Hey, this is a team we should beat. This is a game
Yeah.
that we should win because we're Auburn and they're Arkansas. I mean,
Yeah, if you want to take that next step and be in the SEC West and be a contender, this is a game you got to win.
yeah.
And this is just one of those that you would see it on the schedule. You're like, yeah, we're going to beat Arkansas. That's no
Yeah.
big deal.
well,
Let's
that and you could be sitting at 5-4 realistically right here. So
yeah.
are we fighting for to ease that monkey off our back to get to the bowl win and not have to worry about
Yeah.
the
What
next
do you
game?
think this 4-game stretch, man? What do you think the peak is, and what do you think the low is?
Peak is 4-0, low is 1-3.
1-3, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
I was thinking
it's
2-2,
college football.
man. I
I
think
think
two and
I think
two.
you definitely could drop one of the Mississippi teams.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, that's after that 3-game stretch they go to. Who knows if it's Ole Miss or Mississippi State?
Yeah.
I think Vandy's gonna be close, man. I'm not saying it's gonna be a knockout dragout, but I just that like Gus hit on this late in the season, you kind of know what you got by now.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good team, Arkansas is not going to be easy to beat.
No.
No, they're not. They're gonna be tough,
I mean,
So
and
I
it's gonna be
don't think.
cold.
Yes,
Ooh,
dude.
it's gonna be cold in Arkansas
Cold
in November.
Arkansas.
Windy.
Ugh,
Oof.
gross.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely gross.
Especially noon kickoff. It's gonna be 11 a.m. there
Ugh,
too.
chilly.
Oh, man.
No. This game kind of reminds me of when LSU went and played Arkansas last year.
Yeah.
The freaking field was covered in ice. They daggum had to get the shovels out there and break the ice up.
Yeah, I can see
There
it
were
very
icicles
similar
hanging
to
from the
that.
field goal post. It was
Yeah, it's gonna be
cold.
cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
tough
and
I
to
you got
mean,
to
play them
think
this
too.
late there.
Pittman is already got his feet wet. You know,
yeah,
Hughes just getting back in the SEC ball, so
right.
Pittman's at least going to have a little bit of an upper hand on how he gauges things. So
Yeah, man. And so maybe 4-0, low 1-3. I would say you could give us 3-1 in this stretch would be fine. And then we play New Mexico State in the annual SEC Cupcake weekend, the weekend before rivalry.
hey,
Must be
And
nice.
but can we speak on this game? Can we still talk about this game? Because I
yeah,
find this
yeah,
one interesting.
yeah.
Because if you think about it, not a lot of people thinking like we're thinking. New Mexico State beat the piss out of Liberty last year,
Yes.
so Hugh is going to want this one back, dude. They scored 35 unanswered,
Yeah.
so their quarterback barely threw over 100 yards. I think their running back barely had 50 yards. So
Hughes gonna want to run it up.
yeah, I just wanted to mention that
Auburn
is
over, hammer it.
look for Auburn to whatever they got going on. They're going to have it going on that day. So
Put the mortgage on Auburn over, but bet responsibly, people.
yes.
I don't
I
know if I'd
mean,
listen to these guys.
no, don't do that, please. But yeah, Cody, that's a phenomenal point. But I mean, it's Auburn versus New Mexico State. Just like we said with a Sanford game, this is a great game to get out, to get to tailgate in the fall, to get out with a family, play some cornhole. You can walk into the stadium. You can walk out at the end of the third quarter because it's 47-3. And then you can get ready for Alabama coming in the following week. We'll be at this game, man. Oh, if Auburn has ran the table, the only 3 losses, say, are A&M, Georgia, and LSU. We're on fire coming into this game. This is the best case scenario. 8-3 coming into this game. I think that's Auburn ceiling. If we're 8-3 coming into this game, we are not losing. That's just the way it is. By this time, we would be a really solid team. Saban can't beat good teams in Auburn. He's never beat a 9-win or better Auburn team in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and it's not going to happen this year. That's if we're 8-3. That's our absolute ceiling. But man, I'm excited for this game.
This game's gonna be fun. It's gonna be rocking Hughes' first Iron Bowl he gets to experience. I don't care what the Auburn's record is. This game is gonna be fun to be at, regardless.
Oh, yeah.
Alabama's not as well. They're really talented. We just don't know about their quarterback yet.
Yeah.
Are they going to have quarterback play by this time?
I think
so. I think that'll be what kind of who can win this game. Pretty much is whose quarterback's going to come out and play the best because we don't know really much about their quarterback room and who's going to be the starter at this point.
Yeah, we have no clue. And this will be your first Iron Bowl, Cody.
That's right. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Dude, there was nothing like it.
I'm trying to think, like realistically speaking, it's not a joke. How many years could you say, like, okay, Gus, if you had to pick one win on here, is it Georgia or is it Bama?
Georgia, because I hate Georgia.
Well, I think a majority of fans hate both of them, but I do think if you had to pick one where you're like, "Hey, I'm guaranteed to win one, but I got to lose the other," it's not often that they would say, "I want Georgia this year." It's kind of weird looking at the Iron Bowl that way.
I mean, for me and for people that grew up on the west side of Georgia, I think it's really unique in the situation that us Auburn fans find ourselves in
Mhm.
because we're around a lot more Georgia fans. We're around a lot more Georgia fans, and we have a Georgia fan in the chat. Our boy Desmond Dunlap said, "Definitely not Georgia." Well, we for sure know you don't want Georgia to lose to Auburn, Daz. But it's just something about Georgia. All of my in-laws they're all massive Georgia fans. We have a bunch of friends that are Georgia fans, and man, and it's just something about Georgia's being on top. We've beat Alabama, not consistently, but sporadically enough to where it kind of satisfies our craving. Like we're like able to get a hit of it like every 1 or 2 or 3 years. And Kirk on the chat says, "I had rather beat the dogs for sure."
And see,
See,
that's my point. My
That's
point
right,
is
dude,
Kirk.
like my point is the run that Georgia's had, man. It's unique because normally, yes, you want to beat both of them, but just for fun, if you had to choose one, I think a lot of Auburn fans would say, "Dude, knock Georgia off. I want to
get them
beat
out of
Bama,
here.
but let's show them what it is." And I say all that to say this: how is Hugh thinking? Is surely Hugh is thinking, "I'm going to throw the sink at this Iron Bowl. It's my first Iron Bowl. I got to show Auburn fans, what I
Mhm.
got." So who knows what we see in Auburn? I think I'm not downplaying Bama at all. I think they got a ton of talent. I think whoever's
Oh,
playing quarterback is going to run. I like them to win the West. I don't care about LSU. I think Bama's going to be really tough, man. But it's going to be fun to watch Hugh Freeze in his first Iron Bowl.
take
Give
on,
me some juice, dudes.
dude.
That's a
I
good
mean,
one.
the kind of we were talking about the Arkansas game, how that was a sneaky game for Auburn. Well, this is a
Mhm.
sneaky game for Bama. And you
Oh
might be
yeah,
getting ready to play in the SEC championship game the next week. Well, if you lose this game, you might not make it to the SEC championship game, So
dude.
this is a
Yeah,
sneaky game for Bama. They're going to have to be on their they're going to have to bring it that week because Auburn will be ready to go. Hugh will have them ready. This is a big game. If you can win the Iron Bowl as an Auburn coach, man,
massive.
that puts so much confidence in you and the boosters, man. That gives you a few more years on your contract
I
if
mean,
you can beat Alabama.
years. Winning that game gets you yeses that are previously no. If you're Hugh
Yeah,
Freeze, that also. Do you know how many big recruits are going to be at that game too? I mean, it's the biggest rivalry in college football. All eyes are on you, and if you win that game, that's massive. And man, and plus but you even see kind of getting back to your point, Cody. We have a Georgia fan in the chat saying definitely not Georgia. We don't want to lose to Auburn. You have Kirk Hancock, a really big Auburn fan, saying we want to beat Georgia. You have another big Auburn fan, and my mom who says she's an old Auburn fan. She says we want to beat Georgia. I mean,
I just think it's interesting, man. Like, yeah,
yes,
I get that rivalry. I think the Iron Bowl is the best rivalry in college football. I stand by that. I know if you're born in Alabama or live in Alabama, you got to choose one side or the other, and you hate the other side. I get that, but the way that Georgia's had success, and to get both of those teams at home, if you can find a way to go 1-1, man,
split
that's going
them.
to be massive.
Just split them. That would be huge. I mean,
that'd be a great
absolutely,
first year.
dude.
Be a great way to end your first year at Auburn, man. Getting to go roll Toomer's corner in the Iron Bowl, man.
I really hope that we get to experience that for y'all's sake, for our
For the
project's sake,
cameras,
dude, for the cameras. Man, it gets my blood. I mean, I can feel it in my veins right now. Like my veins are pumping. Probably if you took my blood pressure right now, I'm probably about to stroke out because I'm so hyped.
Lord,
I mean, yeah. So
like gosh.
So kind of looking back at the schedule, what's the record-wise floor and ceiling for Auburn going into 2023? Let's just wrap all this up in a nice, pretty box and put a bow on it. Floor and ceiling. Cody,
Floor.
Will?
Cody, you go ahead, Cody. See what you got to say.
I don't know about floor and ceiling type. I'll let y'all stick with that. I think my expectation for Auburn, or if I was an Auburn fan, I think I'm shooting for 8-5 with a bowl win. I think
That's reasonable.
I mean, I think that's shooting high, and maybe that's one could argue maybe that's their ceiling. I don't know. I think 8-5 would be a great year. It'd be a good start. That means you get some key wins, and let's hope it's not on that lower level. How we saw last year. What do you think, Will?
I think the floor is 6-6. Just with the non-conference schedule, I think you automatically get 4, and I think you can find 2 more wins on that schedule.
Yeah.
The ceiling to me is 8-4. That's the absolute ceiling. 9-3 would be absolutely tough, man. That means you probably split one of the big 2 on your schedule. I just think 8-4 is more likely than 9-3.
I'm a little bit of a pessimist when it comes to Auburn. I've always kind of been that way. So I'm saying floor is 5-7. Because I mean, that's if a lot of stuff goes wrong. And I think ceiling, we've seen Auburn in 2012 not win an SEC game. And then the following year in 2013 with the brand new coach, go on and win the daggum SEC. I mean, so Auburn's just got that little sprinkle of magic about them. So I think peak this year 9-3. That's absolute ceiling maxed out. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen at all. But that's definitely what I think the peak could be. But I would be happy with 7-5, kind of 8-5, like Cody said, with a bowl win. I wouldn't be happy with 6-6, but I would say, okay, we've improved. And what does the product look like on the field? Because you can go 6-6 in the SEC and be competitive in a lot of games, and the games just don't really go your way. So, man. And we have Dasmond, the Georgia fan, in the chat again. 6-6, Dasmond. I really hope that you're not right. I really, really hope.
I mean, that's not a bad realistic number for year one. I mean, the roster is 40% new. You've got new coaching staff. Like, it's not going to click overnight. So let's if we're being realistic.
As long as the games are like one possession games, and you might slip a few there here and there. 6-6, I mean, it's not going to look great. Georgia fans are going to give you crap, whatever. But if it's one possession games, and as long as you're not getting blown out by teams you shouldn't get blown out by, man, I think that's an upper trend from the previous year.
Right. Just look better. Have the games have a more competitive feel to them, and really have a good year to springboard off of going into 2024. But man, before we get out of here, I just want to say thank everyone for coming in. We love when y'all interact with the show. We absolutely love it. Share this stream, like it, tell your friends about it, subscribe to us on YouTube. It's free, kind of like we hit on at the start of the show. It's completely free, and then we're going to put out some awesome videos in the fall that we think y'all are really going to enjoy. So man, give us a subscription there. You're able to watch this stream there too. And we also put out our shorts there that are kind of like a TikTok style. We're also on Spotify and Apple. If you have people that really don't want to watch a live stream, they can listen to us the next morning on the car ride to work, while they go for a jog, while they're walking the dog. That rhymes. Or you can watch us on TikTok, or you can follow us on Instagram. Man, I had a blast breaking down my Auburn Tigers tonight.
I bet you did, man. That was fun.
All right, guys. Well, we will be back next week with another episode of the Extra Points Podcast with the college football experience. Again, I am Gus. That's Will. That's Cody. Guys, y'all got anything to say before we roll out?
Good night. See y'all later. Subscribe,
War
follow us.
Eagle. Hey.
See y'all later. Peace.